No, God. Did I just say that out loud? Maybe not with my mouth, but I have a feeling I've said it with my life more than once. Oh, Lord, use me. Oh, yeah, just not like that, okay? Or how about, Lord, I'll go anywhere as long as it has air conditioning and Diet Coke. Lord, show me your will as long as it looks suspiciously like the plan I've already worked out. Hi, I'm Susan Price Thompson, founder of I Can See You, where I help people move from chaos to clarity through biblical wisdom, discernment, and learning to recognize the Holy Spirit in everyday life. And that's what these weekly conversations are all about. I think most of us kind of secretly wish God would publish a book called Your Calling for Dummies. Large print, color coded, spiral bound. Chapter 1, exactly what to do. Chapter 2, exactly when to do it. Chapter 3, how to avoid looking really foolish. I'd buy that book and I might even read it. I love discernment. I really do. I just wish life came with like subtitles or maybe spoilers scrolling across right under my line of vision as I'm ambling my way through life. Those little hints that tell you something you couldn't possibly know yet. Like, this odd character will be important in your life. Eek, look to the left. No, 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 your other left. Or, hey, red flag, he is not the one. And maybe even tips like, do not ask if these pants make you look thinner. I'd be terrific with subtitles, but that's not usually how the Spirit works. He seems to whisper in ordinary life. You know those here's your sign moments? You're looking everywhere for your reading glasses while they're sitting on top of your head. Here's your sign. You're searching your whole house for your phone while you're using your phone's flashlight to find it. Here's your sign. You pull on a door 3 times before realizing it says push. There's your literal sign. We were just oblivious. And I wonder if we do the very same thing with God. Lord, I want to change the world. Meanwhile, my grandkids are wondering if Mimi is ever going to put her phone down and play. Here's your sign. Lord, just give me patience. Meanwhile, I'm wishing He'd remove every person from my life who requires any. Here's your sign. Lord, I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to need the timeline, the travel arrangements, and no immunizations required on that whole mission thing you got going. Here's your sign. It's flashing neon. But what about when we're not oblivious? What about when we know exactly what we think we want and God knows we're asking for something so much smaller than what He has in mind? There's a story Henry Blackaby tells in the Experiencing God Bible study that explains it perfectly. A little boy wanted one of those inexpensive toys he'd seen advertised on television. The kind of toy commercial you can already picture in your life, only for it to end up like a week later, wedged between the couch cushions and forgotten until grandma sits on it. But this little boy just knew that's what he wanted for his birthday. That's what would make him really, really happy. What he didn't know was that his father had already bought him a beautiful Schwinn bicycle. It was already assembled, already waiting right there, gleaming in the garage. For a long time, I thought that story was about the bicycle. I don't anymore. I think it's about the father. The father wasn't trying to decide what to give his son. He'd already decided. The challenge was preparing the little boy to want something he didn't even know enough to ask for. That changes the story for me because the little toy wasn't necessarily bad. It was just so much less than what the father already knew would delight him. His dream was too small, and the father's job wasn't to change the gift, it was to enlarge the desire. Think about that. And suddenly, I wonder how often I've prayed for the toy. Lord, this is what I want. This is what I need. Oh, please, please, please. This is what will make me happy. And all the while, my father's standing beside a blue Schwinn in the garage. Not because he enjoys making me wait, not because he's trying to make following him unnecessarily difficult. He may be teaching me to want something I don't even know enough to ask for yet. And how about that unspoken second half of surrender? God, I so want your will, but I'd also really like to keep mine. Oh, it's there, lurking. I wasn't unwilling to do God's will. I was unwilling to stop wanting mine. I know something about that kind of prayer. Years ago, when I was trying to quit smoking, I couldn't pray for help quitting because I knew He would. I couldn't even honestly pray, God, make me want to quit, because I didn't want to quit. So I prayed, God, make me want to quit. Apparently, he had to start like three wants back. And maybe that's exactly what Paul meant when he wrote, For it is God who works in you to will and to act in order to fulfill his good purpose. Philippians 2:13. And that may be part of God's will we've missed. We keep asking, what does God want me to do? And perhaps he's also asking, will you let me change what you want? Because when God changes what you want, He changes what you notice, what matters to you, what breaks your heart, what brings you alive, where you're willing to go. And eventually, your life begins moving toward the very things He had in His heart all along. And all of this time, I may be wondering, God, what is taking you so long? And I can almost hear Him saying, back at you, because love doesn't bulldoze a human will. I've been waiting for Him to fulfill my longing while He's painstakingly changing the longing. I was asking God for His will, He was changing mine. Maybe that's why calling can't simply be a set of instructions. Yeah, maybe that's why your Calling for Dummies book never arrived. God isn't merely giving directions to a destination, He's forming the person who will arrive there. And maybe that's also why calling feels less like following a map and more like growing something. An apple tree doesn't wake up every morning saying, okay, today I've just got to make some apples. It doesn't spend the afternoon wondering whether it's fulfilling its calling. It stays rooted where it was planted, doesn't try to be an apple tree. It is what it is, and it bears fruit because it's an apple tree. In season, the fruit is simply the natural overflow of being what it was created to be and staying connected to the source of its life. We've spent so much time asking God what we're supposed to produce that we've forgotten to pay attention to the life producing it. The fruit isn't the assignment, it's the evidence of the life within. And maybe that gives us a different kind of here's your sign. If something that once had a hold on you doesn't anymore, here's your sign. If you're beginning to want obedience more than certainty, here's your sign. If you're beginning to realize that what you've been asking God for may not be nearly as good as what He's teaching you to want, well, here's your sign. And just like that bicycle, the delay may not be because God is still preparing the gift. He may be preparing you. The closed door may not be rejection, it may be protection. The dream you've slowly been losing interest in may not be dying. Your Father may quietly be teaching you to want something you never even knew to ask for. If these conversations help you see God or yourself a little more clearly, subscribe, click the bell, and choose all. And if someone came to mind while you were listening today, well, there's your sign. Share this with them. Your simple act of sharing may become the very sign someone else has been praying for. So maybe you've been asking God for a sign. Maybe you've been waiting for something unmistakable. But what if every quiet nudge, every holy interruption, every closed door, every desire that's changing, every burden that just won't leave you alone, every opportunity that keeps coming back has been your Father patiently teaching you to want what He wanted for you all along? Maybe the greatest sign isn't the one you've been waiting to receive. Maybe the greatest sign is a changed heart. Because when Christ changes a life, that life begins pointing other people to Him. And suddenly the question changes, what if the sign you've been looking for is you? You are one. Be the sign. I do wish you could see what God sees when He looks at you. But until you do, I can see you. And I'll see you next time.